Okay, alright, guys. Honestly speaking, what is your opinion on Clamble?
Clamble?
Yeah, dude, Clamble.
Here's the thing. I don't like Clamble. That's how I'm gonna start. I don't like Clamble.
You
Because here's the
don't.
thing, Clamble's freaking I like his suspended symbol shit, that's fine. But his actual like hi hat things, they're so like random beats, bro. They're like he goes psh, 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 psh. I'm like, what the fuck? This isn't the rhythm I like at all. And then okay, so yeah, that's literally just Clamble's ass. Actually Clamble's looking at
I think I think Wimble is okay.
At the end of the day, maybe a lot of people probably would disagree with me on this, but I think symbols are like the most underwhelming thing ever. Like they're not gonna be bad, but okay, they can be bad, but they're usually not gonna be bad. They just be in the sense there. It makes it not sound awful, and
Okay,
that's it.
but here's the thing. Here's the
I
thing. If you take Clamble out of Plant Island, you don't have Plant Island.
not yeah,
Clamble's
that's a
It's necessary in the song. It's just not noteworthy. No, okay. No one's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I'm rocking out to Clamble right now." The only thing good about okay. To be fair though, Clamble's big crash that's actually top tier, but the
yeah.
rest of him is kind of Clamble.
Clamble's meant to be a
I
transition monster. He's not meant to add a beat. He's just
To be fair, probably the only reason that I notice them so much is because I have 6 of them.
yeah.
I have something to say.
What?
What?
I think Clamble.
Good talk. Good talk.
Okay, one thing I do love about Clamble is his design. He's got like one of the most iconic MSM designs.
Oh yeah, his design is funny, bro. He's just a lurking man in a cloak.
When I think of Clamble, all I think
He
of
carries
is
his
that one
offspring.
human Clamble design someone made when they made him a gardener.
Dude,
Oh yeah, I
my
love that.
favorite thing about Clamble is that his body looks like an umbrella.
He
What about
looks
that
like he
Mo
hasn't
Fix
eaten in
Clamble?
days.
Oh guys, flushed emoji, flushed emoji, flushed emoji. Would you look up Clamble's skirt? Flushed emoji, flushed emoji.
No.
Flushed emoji.
Oh,
I
Okay,
would.
I don't know,
you gotta
man.
realize that's not a skirt, that's a dress at this point.
Trans
Yeah.
icon.
Alright, you know what? Clamble is dumb.
He's just transition.
Okay, Clamble
Speaking of transition, let's flawless transition.
Yeah.
let's
Ooh.
flawlessly transition into the next best monster.
Dipsters.
Pummel? Yeah. Wait, what do you
Yeah.
mean next best?
Listen, didn't you establish that we're doing this in order from the very best monsters ever to the worst?
Honestly, guys, Pummel's my favorite monster. I like it when he goes.
He's my second favorite monster. Clamble's my favorite.
Bro, yeah, your favorite monster is Clamble.
Anyway, okay, so Pummel on Plant Island.
What?
I don't like Pummel either.
Honestly, guys, is Pummel even on Plant Island? I don't even know.
I don't know.
I feel okay. He's memorable on Plant Island. I think. I think he's memorable. Okay, the entire theme with Plant Island is gonna be, wow, that's memorable. The end.
I mean, but even then, Pummel is like on a tier list of memorable to not memorable. Pummel is like Fleechworm.
I mean, I
Well, okay,
yeah.
here's the thing though. With Pummel, at least Epic Pummel is the best Pummel.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Rare
I have
Pummel
something
Rare
is
to
Pummel's
say about
pretty
Pummel.
good.
Rare Pummel is bootleg Rare Sponge.
Can I say something about Pummel?
What?
What?
He's very mean to me.
What?
Another thing
Yeah.
about Pummel, Pummel is one of those monsters that another monster rips it off, and then it just becomes the ripoff because that's how bad it is. Because Pummel's like, bro, I'm gonna be in the song, and then Punkleton's like, bro, I'm gonna do your part, and Pummel's like, ha, wow, you're a ripoff of me, and then everyone, nah, bro, you're a ripoff of him. He's like, bro, he came later. He's like, yeah, but you're worse.
You know what? You got a good point.
Pummel for a bass drum monster really does not have the rhythm settled for a bass drum.
Pummel is a vocal.
Isn't he like a tom though?
I mean, maybe,
I thought he was a kick drum.
but nah, he's a kick drum on composer.
He's usually a floor tom. I'm pretty sure, but sometimes he's a kick drum.
Well, yeah, he's still like the bassiest drum on the
Bro,
island.
that makes him worse, because why would you have a single tom? You have to have all 3 toms for them to function.
Yeah, that's that's a good point. That's kind of how Pummel works, though.
Bummel's the worst.
That's
I'm gonna
bullying.
cry.
And then Strimes is gonna watch this video and be like, "You can't say that about Pummel."
And then we're gonna say we're saying that out right now, and then it's gonna be front view pictures of all of us for 3 minutes.
Alright, remind me to draw front view pictures of all of us so I can make it the picture for the video.
Make sure to make me a Cybop because I'm Cybop on YouTube.
No.
How?
Yes.
What?
I'm of
gotta be
course I am.
You gotta be.
No. What you gotta do is like you gotta do a half.
Wearing the Cybop.
No. What you gotta do is that you have to make it like half of it is.
I am half me Cybop.
You have to do that.
Anyway.
Speaking of Cybop, he has 2 monsters in his elements: air for Tweel and.
Cybop isn't even on Plan Island.
Let's talk about Noggin.
Noggin. You literally can't talk about Noggin.
What do you mean?
Guys,
only-
I have something to say about Noggin. It's really important.
What?
I like Noggin because he has short nails,
You know
which
what?
makes him a lesbian.
Dipsters are fucking ass.
We'll get to dipsters. We'll get to them.
For
Just
Noggin,
wait.
okay, Noggin is probably top. Okay, Noggin, not memorable. Noggin is memorable, but not
Alright,
memorable.
if Noggin
you
wasn't
Start off your game with Noggin.
if Noggin wasn't the first monster you get, he wouldn't be remembered at all.
Why did they make Noggin the first
But
monster
here's
you
the
get?
thing, because he's the
Because
first monster
concussion.
you get.
Essential, that's why.
Because he's the first monster you get, if you or anyone literally everywhere who's any played MSM goes, you
No.
instantly know.
Everyone would be like, "Oh my god, I vibe, I kin, I stand."
No,
And then they
anyone who
start
knows MSM
bouncing.
instantly knows bum bum.
Well, yo,
Hold
okay.
on,
He's also in the
that-
tutorial. That's fair.
Mammoth?
Anyway, okay, with Noggin, his normal design is not as significant. His epic design is like top 5 best epics.
Well, yeah, but honestly, epics aren't that good anyway.
But it's still impressive. We have a good design.
That's racist.
Yeah, it may be racist, but it's racist on basis.
You're racist.
Speaking
Oh.
of bases, let's talk about the next best monster, the castle base.
No.
Wait, why is that on the list?
Because it was supposed to be if we had time after we talked about everything.
Okay, fine. Let's finally.
I
talk
mean,
about
Mammoth's pretty basey.
Alright, guys, let's talk about the castle base, also known as Rare Wubbox.
Rare Wubbox?
You're not even wrong.
I mean, Rare Wubbox literally always plays a castle base. So,
Actually.
Except on Plant Island, where instead he says, "Bro, castle base, smashable base." More like, "I'm gonna play Octopus," and Octopus like, "Bro, I'm gonna cry because now I'm irrelevant."
Shoutouts to Rarobox. Like, everyone likes Rarobox in the community except for, like, the musically intelligent because they know, oh, bro, that just covers up Octopus. That's kind of ass.
yeah, really. You got
Yeah.
Octopus is just the superior Rare Wubbox.
I mean, really, you go play the game and you're like, bro, Octopus be slapping, and then you get the full song. It's like, wait, where's Octopus?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. He's big and orange for some reason.
Someone help!
Yeah,
I think he
because
has a
Octopus,
disease.
you start the game and you simply have all the natural monsters, and it's like, oh, bro, this is pretty nice. But then, and like, Octopus just is kind of sitting there. He has his own little solo. But then Rarobox come in and Socks was like, yes, a tree stump, a perfect place to sit on.
Bro, now I gotta sit down for this one.
Yo, honestly though, Rare Wubbox, I don't like it because it doesn't even have rhythm. It's just kind of random jittering.
Nah, bro, he goes aka not great rhythm, but still a rhythm.
The thing that
It's a
really
rhythm that
irks
doesn't
me,
go well with anything else.
the thing that bothers me is the second part where it's like at the beginning it's got that da 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 and it's like da 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 da. No, okay.
Okay, so far I think out of all the monsters we talked about, most of them are not that great, and then Verbox is the worst of them.
I
Let's
mean,
talk about something
Well,
much better. Let's talk about
yeah,
like
something
higher
great.
standards. Like, how about
Sugar
Anthrop?
Bush.
Ant Brat.
Aw.
I
And
mean,
Brat.
you literally. I don't want to be negative the whole video, but Ant Brat's like the worst quad.
Okay, we're not talking about the other quads right now. Though we're talking about Plant Island and Prot only.
Well, then I guess he's funny.
Here's the thing about Entbrat. You get him, and like you're playing through the game, and you're like, bro, I can't wait to get Entbrat, because you know what Entbrat's sound is gonna be just by his design. You know he's gonna be some loud, ogreous, huge, disgustingly loud monster. And you're like, bro, that's the perfect thing for my beautiful melodic song that I'm listening to right now. And then you get him, and you're like, wow, for some reason it works.
I
It's
mean,
the perfect ending if you don't count Sugarbush.
Okay, to be
That's
fair though, I
racist.
feel like the Sugarbush ending is top tier because it's a nice cool down. Because
yeah.
like
Yeah, the
otherwise,
Entbrat is there.
here's the thing. I think it's a lot better to have a nice transitional cool down to go back right into the start of the song than just la 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 la. Then
Oh, but I'm not saying that Entbrat should be the start of the ending of the song. I'm saying that Entbrat is the perfect, like, he's the perfect end of the climax.
Yeah.
Because you have the mob part, and you're like, bro, this is the best part. And then Entbrat comes in, and you're like, bro. And then Sugarbush comes in, and you're like, yay, yay, yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing though. See, something that we have to, something that's very important to talk about is like the fact that Plant Island kind of went through puberty when Wordos came in, so they made Emperor from that into just bro. What did we do like 3 times throughout the song?
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I mean, Entbrat's just kind of Entbrat.
Entbrat isn't quad tier, but it's also kind of quad tier because it's like
You know what
the
I
most
think
hype.
about Emperor?
What?
I think that Emperor is a brat.
No way. Nah, you gotta use
Okay,
Entbrat,
no.
so he's a
Okay,
bratwurst.
speaking-
Brat
Okay,
first.
see, here's the thing. With Emperor, he's like, he's really, like you said, he's really good, especially in the old composition, not as much in the current composition, but like, I think it'd be a lot cooler because like, if they're gonna go with this new composition, he should like have more transitional verses. So it should be when it's going back to the Mammoth verse, he should be like la 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 la.
Can the coughing also be on rhythm with Noggin?
You're just.
I think that's how you make him better. Honestly,
What about okay?
just give him a disease.
Yeah, that's why we're the epic.
Yo,
Yeah.
speaking of disease,
Jammer.
Toe Jammer looks like a bacteria.
Toe Jammer
he's-
looks like literally cancer.
You want to know what Toe Jammer tastes like?
What does he taste like?
Toes.
I forgot what they said, but in live stream, they said that he tasted like. He tastes like nothing.
What?
Nice.
I mean, that's
Water.
water
It's
for
like-
you.
Yeah, he tastes like water, so nothing.
Bro, coagulated water.
Okay,
anyways,
sound.
So Toe Jammer is he okay, for Toe Jammer, he's another one of those monsters that's like it's essential to the song, and it's really memorable, but it's not super notable.
Yeah.
When you start off the game and you get Toe Jammer and Mehmet, and you're like, you know, this is kind of cool and all.
The start of the game that is really cool. 'Cause you start off with Noggin, then Mammoth comes and says, "Oh, okay, it's just those two together, and nothing special about it." Then Toe Jammer comes in, it's like, "Oh, that's cool." They're like duetting, you know, they're going together, they're building upon each other, and that's just how the game flows. Because the best parts of the game are the start of the game and when you get Air Island. So the start of the game is really fun, like when you're first starting in, because you just get to see the song build up and understand how it's like, oh, that's actually really cool. Like everything's building on each other until they make a great song.
Yeah.
So Toe Jammer was the first step, and it's funny enough because he didn't even have any feet. He's just the first step in that direction.
And then you get Drumpler, and you're like, wow, that's boring.
That's true.
Well, that's
Unless
why you
get-
don't get Drumpler. You get Maw first.
Maw.
That's why you get Fwog, and it's like, oh, it's a cool triplet of these three building up, and then you get Maw, and you're like, wait a minute, what? There's another verse, and it's even cooler.
And then you get Drumpler, and you're like, oh, it's just Drumpler.
Drumpler goes like, Drumpler kind of duet with Mammoth too, because bum, bum, bum.
And then he also comes with Flog because of the last part.
Yeah, it goes.
Yeah, Drumpler works. Like, okay, so we basically got down what Toe Jammer's job is. He does it right. It's not super notable. Let's talk about Drumpler now. Drumpler is probably one of the most underwhelming monsters out there, but he's really good on Plant Island.
Drumpler? I feel like people low-key kind of sleep on Drumpler.
They really do.
Yeah.
They could have done more with a snare, though.
Yeah, you're right. And
Here's the thing, they could have done more, and they do more on They do more on Earth Island.
yeah, Drumpler.
He just hits himself.
Drumpler.
The point of Plant Island is to be the basics, so you get a basic understanding. It's a basic song. It's not going to be the best song in the game. It's just going to be everything's going to be basic, but in the best way. So it's really cool, and you get a high understanding. The only monsters that aren't basic are the really, really like hard to get monsters like Sugarbush and Gas, because that's their job. They're like, hey, we're going to add a little bit of complexity to the song and make it even better. But also, like, show you like, hey, there's things out there that's bigger than Noggin.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's things out there bigger than Noggin.
Yo, speaking of things that are bigger than Noggin, we gotta talk about T-Rocks.
T-Rock.
I forgot about. To be honest, right until you hear that, I forgot he existed on the island.
Yeah.
I
T-Rock was just Noggin but punchier.
T-Rocks is usually the first triple element you get.
Yeah, and then you're
He's not that needed. I mean, he's good, but
T-Rocks also he's also able to hold above Noggin's head not only that he's punchier, but the fact that he's got two instruments, which makes the rhythm different.
I mean, fair, but like it's just Noggin but more. You get the first triple element, and you're like, wow, that's just something I already have.
True. At least he's better than Clamble.
And then you get the plant
element. It's good. It's also good to have an 8-hour one, because like it's very whack going from, oh, this is gonna take it's like first you breathe the first 2 tones, oh, 30 minutes, not too bad, and then for it to go straight from that to 30 to like 12 hours would be pretty whack. So to go from 8 hours is pretty lenient.
I feel like it should be less than 8 hours.
Even then, sometimes this is not like an important thing to the video, but it's an interesting note. I just remembered. Since T-Rox is 8 hours, obviously everyone uses him to breathe gas. So because of that, T-Rox is the most in all of them assembled.
Yeah, he's the most influential.
Fair.
So T-Rox holds his weight, which is all he needs to do. That's gonna be a common theme. They do their job, and they do it good enough.
Yeah. We forgot to mention though with Noggin that T-Rox kind of makes it not needed.
Yeah, T-Rox, he just overshadows Noggin, and I'm like, oh, okay.
What do you think overshadows who more, T-Rox to Noggin or Rare Wobox to Octopus?
Rare Wobox to Octopus.
Really?
Because Noggin has verses where he plays by himself and not with T-Rox.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it's the Octopus verse.
That's ironic.
So like, it's just part of Plant Island's theme. Like doing it at a higher level doesn't make sense, but for T-Rox and Noggin it makes sense, because again, it's following the entire theme of building up. Like, hey, you have this simple percussion. What if we did that again, but even better?
True.
Yeah.
In future islands, he doesn't do that as much, but mostly because Noggin is just less relevant.
Fair.
I mean, Noggin is supposed to be basic.
Yeah, at the end of the day, no one buys a Noggin and expects that to be the main percussion for the island.
Future islands like Party Island and fucking
Space Island.
Space Island.
Well, we'll get to that eventually.
Yeah.
That's the reason why those aren't considered very good by us. But before anyone kills us, just wait till those videos eventually comes out.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna want to kill us more then. Anyway, let's see what we got. We already talked about the only single element we haven't talked about at this point is. Oh wait, no, there's two. We didn't really talk about Mammoth.
We should talk about Octopus first because we brought him up, but we haven't really talked about him.
Oh yeah, we kind of shunned Octopus, even though he's really like one of the best vocals.
It's okay. He's used to it.
Octopus is
Okay, Octopus is probably the best vocal in the game. That's a hot take, but it's a true take. It's hard to be better than Octopus. It's like a perfect MSM voice with a perfect it's just perfect. And the only problem with it is every single time he gets his own part and it's great. But for some reason they realize, oh wait, not enough happens in that part because Octopus is in that part, so they add more to it. And sometimes it improves it, but most of the time it isn't as good because they just kind of cover Octopus up, which is bad. And that happens with this one because Octopus is really, really memorable in that verse before Rebel came out because it was just his own little solo as the build up to the big climax, and then they added a Robots to it, and they just made it not as build up because it's kind of not equally loud as everything else.
It's not that it's like less of a build up. It's that it's less of a cool down.
That's true.
Because
it goes through everything happening with like Punkleton joining in the verse before, and then it's just a cooldown, but then Robots just screaming.
Yeah. Because like the verse before you have like, oh my god, Bogart, oh my god, Mammoth, oh my god, Furcorn, oh my god, Punkleton, oh my god,
and Robots and Gas.
Yeah. And even like Sugarbush.
Oh.
And then you have, Octopus, time to cool down, listen to Octopus. Oh, yeah, he's kind of going. And then Potbelly duetting with him. It's like, yeah, man, this is going. And then you go into the Want verse and like, yeah.
It's especially good with Bogart build up because it's from just and then like going up and up. So yeah, it's a perfect verse, but then Octopus did his job perfectly, and he probably is one of the best. He's probably the best natural on the island.
All right, here's the thing. Octopus, even though Rare Wobox exists, is still important to the song for one reason. He gets a whole shoe in the song before Rare Wobox starts playing.
He gets a whole shoe?
Yeah, because it goes shoe wa ba ba ba.
Here's the thing you're forgetting. It used to be like that, like, oh wow, they really did Octopus dirty, and they're like, at least he gets that shoe in. And then Parle started because I'm going shoe shopping right now, and that shoe right there is looking mighty fine.
Oh my god, I forgot about the weirdos.
The weirdos, they're fucking ass.
Should we talk about the weirdos?
No,
okay, we should talk about the weirdos later.
Alright.
Maybe they could be the last things we talk
about. And then we can do the more complex monsters.
Well, I mean, Rare Wobox was this third monster we talked about.
Okay, because here's the thing, he's not that complex.
No one likes Rare Wobox.
Oh, fair enough. What about, you know what? Let's take like the face of MSM. Let's talk about Furcorn.
Furcorn.
Well, it's again one of the most memorable sounds in the game. It does really good in the song. Like people okay. It's weird to say this, but people kind of sleep on Furcorn in that song.
I mean, yeah.
Furcorn literally takes the lead in the Mehmet verse. I don't think Furcorn's needed in the Maw part, but yeah, he kind of takes lead in Mehmet, and that kind of makes him notable.
Yeah, it makes sense for him to be the face of MSM based on the Planet Island.
And Cold Island, and all the other islands, what we'll get to later.
Yeah. Planet Island is the face of MSM, and he's the face of the face.
Yeah, but you gotta think about it. Mammoth is in Furcorn.
Mammoth is what?
In Furcorn, because Furcorn's a cold element.
Bro. But Potbelly doesn't play with Furcorn.
Yeah, he does.
Bless you.
Anyways, okay, so yeah, Furcorn does his job great on Plant Island. He's part of the build-up and everything. So again, he does his job. He does it good enough. So he gets a thumbs up from me. But let's
Yeah.
talk about one of the monsters you need to breed. You need to breed him, which is Potbelly.
Potbelly.
Shoutouts to Potbelly in the opening.
Yeah, this is the first time we get to talk about the opening. Really, Potbelly does a great job as a great opening monster. You just build up the song. The later verses, he's never gonna be the main part because he's Potbelly. His job is not to ever be the main part. He's just to support. He's just to be a support monster, but a vocal monster at the same time.
Wait, hold on,
And
hold on.
again, he does his job
We
great.
gotta pause and reset that sentence because someone walked in and talked over me, which means I have to cut that part out.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
So, restart
So
that
where do we
sentence.
start? Oh, okay. Okay, with Potbelly, this is his first time getting to go in the intro, and he does a good job at it because he's in the intro and he's in the later verses, but he's never the main part because he's not meant to be the main part. Because it's like he has two heads. Because it fits perfect. He's like one head on each side to support you, and then you're in the middle. You're the main part you're supposed to focus on. Like in the intro, it's Pungleton with Potbelly there to support it, and then in the other versions, it's supposed to be Octopus, and then Maw, and then Emperor, and then Potbelly's always there, just as a perfect support. Just he reminds you he's there. He fills up dead air, and he does his job right.
And that's fair.
What about you guys? Do you have any hot takes about Potbelly and Plant
Uh,
Island?
I mean,
I do.
what?
Alright. I think Potbelly on Plant Island is it's on Plant Island,
You know what? That's a good point.
which makes bad.
What?
What?
Yeah.
You think Potbelly's bad?
No, I like
It's a
Potbelly.
little bit weird of a choice to have like he's the plant element monster on Plant Island, and like
He's the most insignificant.
it's never been an important thing for MSM to have the one element of the island be important, but it definitely sets the stage to let you know, hey, he's the one element. That doesn't mean he's the most important island, and it's never gonna be like that, really.
Except for when you get to Gold
I
Island, but
never
we'll get there eventually.
understood why Potbelly was the main element of Plant. It was weird to me because Furcorn.
Yeah,
And I
but
thought
Furcorn's furry.
Furcorn was. Yeah, but Furcorn is green, which makes him.
Yeah, well, guess what? So is Shrub.
Speaking
Well,
of
Yeah,
speaking of
Shrub.
Shrub,
Honestly, Shrub low-key is. I don't like Shrub for one reason, and it's because it's not real beatboxing.
oh god, what is it?
It's like
fitting.
It's like when you don't know how to professionally beatbox, so you kind of just wing it.
So you just make random sounds. Shrub is a phony. He's a big meanie.
Well,
All right.
okay.
Stupid.
Nope. Shrub in the opening verse, though.
Yeah, I mean the opening verse is the opening verse.
I can say that Shrub is 100% like nobody thinks about Shrub in the Mehmet verse.
No one thinks about Shrub after the opening. I literally don't even know what parts it plays in after the opening.
It's only the
Same.
Mehmet verse.
Shrub
Nice.
is like he doesn't exist. He's gone.
He's disappearing.
But like the opening verse, he's like one of the only things that plays, so he's definitely memorable.
Oh yeah, well.
Another thing I don't like about Shrub is its design. It's a bipedal monster, but its back is quadruped arced.
He's just
Shrub.
arching, bro.
It's just weird. Shrub's weird to me.
Shrub has always made me uncomfortable.
You know what other monster is weird?
What?
Ma.
Ma? I mean, yeah, Ma's weird, and this is like literally the only island that Ma's good on.
Yeah. Ma on Plant Island is not like Ma on literally any other island because like they just forgot how to do him good for some reason.
Probably
Like
because
in Plan, he's more high pitched, I guess, but like
yeah,
not
He's
in
more
got
filtered
Fun
and
Island.
echoey.
he's
He's
got a
more
higher pitch.
vibrant.
He's harmonizing with himself. He's that professional. And he's also part of the very important build up to the climactic verse.
Yeah. Ma is memorable.
Well, it's definitely remember that, and his design and name are funny, which makes people go, "Oh, that is good."
Quirky.
They go, that is good, and I understand this reference.
Also, I like how one thing that's kind of interesting is that up until that point, the vocals you get like Mammoth, who is this big Yeti thing, and it's big and white, and it goes bum, which you expect because it's like a deep voice thing. And then with
It's also his
ToeJammer,
famous line.
yeah, with ToeJammer, it goes do obviously, and that makes sense. I can't explain why it makes sense. It just does. But with Ma, it's like this big giant mouth thing, and then it's just a light dee dee. And that's not what I expected when I first got it.
Listen, here's the thing. When I first got the game,
go...
I thought ToeJammer was gonna be a percussion because he just taps his toes. But no, he was a vocal. I'm like, oh, that's cooler than what I thought.
Honestly, I'm kind of.
ToeJammer just unpeeled his toenails to make a noise.
If ToeJammer was a percussion, it just tapped the floor and the sound would just be.
Yeah.
Yo, how have we not talked about Mammoth yet?
We just grazed over Mammoth because Mammoth's Mammoth.
What's there to say about Mammoth?
Well, you can talk about his famous line.
He's a better bass than the castle bass.
Wrong.
In fact, Plant Island is like the bassiest Mammoth ever gets.
Shoutouts to Mammoth on this island being like 5 quintillion times higher quality than any other Mammoth.
The only Mammoth that gets even remotely close to the level of bass that Plant Island Mammoth is Air Island Mammoth.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't say bum, he says
there's
A.
only one Mammoth ever in the entire MSM franchise that ever actually reaches that, and that's one of the first one is Jelly Dreams.
Yeah, but that's not even Plant Island.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool.
Exactly. That's the only time where, besides that, he never is able to reach his original level of
guys.
Yeah.
Vercorn's Jelly Dreams has Plant Island, right?
Yeah. It's the one with the top tier octopus.
Wouldn't it be the right thing to talk about that one too? Because it's Plant Island?
Yeah, but we should finish this first.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up on the chopping block would probably be...
We gotta do the only other one on this list that's insignificant to the overall thing, which is Flog.
Flog.
No,
Yes.
he's a funny transition, bro. You go get Flog and you're like, wow, 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 wow. I'm like, holy crap, he goes, wow, 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 wow.
That's another, yeah. I mean, what obviously when Flog is like one of the first 2 elements you get, it's really important.
And then when the full song comes together, you don't hear him.
Yeah, but that's not Flog's fault. If this was like a couple monsters taken away ago, he's better. Excuse me.
Yeah, he just got the octopus treatment.
He got the octopus treatment by the English lexicon.
It's all known, well known around the world.
But yeah, Flog is Flog. I remember Flog also being cool because like you get the game and then you're listening to the island, and when you get Mammoth and ToeJam, you're like, oh man, this is a good progression of the song. This verse is full. And then Flog comes and you're like, oh dude, they squeezed in a little more and it's even better.
And then,
I'm gonna be honest, when you said, first of all, Flog is Flog, and then Flog is, I thought you were saying, and then Flog is Mammoth.
whoa.
Shocking.
Whoa,
and it's a good thing that they made Flog a transitional vocal and not like a main melody or something. Because if Flog was, I imagine if they made Flog a main melody, that would be really bad. Honestly, thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Anyway.
Let's talk about the next. Okay, let's talk about another really important Plant Island monster that no one ever talks about. Let's talk about Bisonorous.
I love it when my Sodders goes dumb diddly dumb.
Bum bum
Wait,
bum.
we can't talk about
diddly.
Bisonorous without talking about Troupican.
No,
Stop.
that's not even ours.
Are we cutting this out?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's in the video except for
Alright.
that one part.
Alright. So there's only one natural left. And I think we
Bogart?
saved the best for
Oh
last.
wait,
Yeah,
I-
it's Bisonorous.
No. Obviously, I feel like it's kind of fate that we left Bogart for last.
Well, yeah, he's the everything.
At the end of the day,
Actually,
Bogart is the ultimate. Like, okay, Aphra is like the quad element, but Bogart is the ultimate monster because he just perfectly encapsulates the entire build-up aspect of the song.
He's
he
also
kind of.
like,
The point of
even
Plant Island has and always will be just built up. That's the entire thing. It's just you get down and you build it up, and the entire song is built up, but in a good way. And they continue that with Bogart, having it just be all it is build up, but it's the best kind of build up and doesn't fit.
I don't think anyone would disagree that Bogart is probably the best monster on Plant Island. Maybe Bogart or Gaz.
All right,
I
you
don't
know.
to call Bogart the best is like okay. Like okay, objectively he's the best. That like I don't think there's a way to get around it. Objectively he's the best. Although with other factors in, definitely other arguments could be made for tons of other monsters on the island.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Robux.
No.
You know, you're talking about
Some
gas.
monsters you can make zero argument whatsoever for them being the best because they're just not.
I'm gonna be honest with gas. I don't find gas that significant because
Yes.
here's the thing: you have Bogart and you have the whole verse, and then gas just kind of comes in and just kind of plays whatever. He's like, yeah, he's there, but like Bogart just does his role, but better.
Yeah.
He's just there to just kind
Something
of.
to consider. Something to consider is that we don't know how long they've had a series plans. Probably for before the game came out, but when the game came out, Plant Island with all the naturals was the final Plant Island version, and then Gas came out, and he was the most complex monster sound in the entire game so far because it had the background noise, and it did a complex part compared to most other monsters, and it was really just to show, whoa, this is a really strong monster. It's different than the others, and that's its job.
Yeah,
You know, it's just
Rumpire happened.
that's what it's for.
Alright, Gas. Yeah, he doesn't do much in the sound, but Gas Plant Island individual sound is like one of the best individual sounds for Plant Island. It's like
Not
almost an
many sounds
entire
in all-
song on its own.
How many songs and everything where you can listen to on its own, like sounds? There's not many individual songs that you listen to on its own, and it's one of the best things ever.
Yeah.
And Gas is one of. Bogart is good, but there's nothing satisfying about just hearing the the the. But hearing Gas sound with all that ambience and background noise, it just sounds great. It's amazing.
I gotta say that Gas in the Maw-verse is a lot better at its job than the one in the Mammoth-verse.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
But coincidentally enough, the Mammoth verse is the one where Bogart takes more of a demanding role.
Yeah.
It's funny that
So-
like two of the best sounds on Plant Island are vying for dominance.
Yeah. Anyways, well, you know, we've talked a lot about the best sounds, so I think it's finally time we talk about the worst sound.
Dipsters are fucking ass.
Hipsters, yeah.
Yeah.
Dipsters
Oh, yeah.
literally.
They're okay. And all of MSM, you can make an argument on Planet for every single monster being the best. Most of the arguments are going to be a little weird, but it's understandable. But unless you have dementia squared and also Alzheimer's, dipsters are never going to be the best monster sound ever in all of ever. Because
Listen,
they're the worst.
with Plant Island, there's no right answer for the best sound. There's only a single wrong answer.
That's really the case.
Dipsters literally, along with Wordos when we get to them, but they literally ruin the fundamental role of the game. That's
Yeah,
how bad they are.
they literally
like,
take the
it's an
premise of the
orchestra.
game and they just kind of crap on it.
Because the whole point of the game is to collect monsters and, like, yes, this is supposed to be an orchestra that I'm collecting. And then you get dipsters and it's like, ha, what if we render half the monsters useless? Because we have to focus on the dipsters because they're fucking loud.
You know, you don't want to turn them down because, first of all, something that I know probably with a lot of people, they know they can turn the monsters down, but one, that's tedious, and two, and more importantly, they feel like it's wrong to turn them down because it's like it should be left at its natural state. But then when you left at its natural state, you can't listen to the song with headphones without destroying your ears.
The worst part about dipsters is when you take them out of the song because you're like, wow, these kind of really aren't that great. Then the song becomes like, oh, right, the dipsters play there. That's kind of weird. So then the wrong ultimately gets like a tainted point of view because you're so used to the dipsters being there. But then you're like, wow, the dipsters kind of suck. So the island's like, oh, what just happened?
Alright, hold on. I'm compiling a list right now. All the monsters that dipsters render irrelevant. You got Drumpler, maybe. You got Toejammer, Maw, Octopus,
Puckleton.
Punkleton. That's 5. Just off the top of my head. And that's on Plant Island alone.
That's not even like talking about the other islands where it's even more significant, like air or water.
And
Yeah,
the best
Wait.
part
Yeah,
is,
with Plant Island, they gave us mercy. They gave us a little bit of mercy with Plant Island because we have the part that plays during the Mammoth part. That's a little bit of mercy because it's not as bad. It's like not as loud and it's tolerable. And
yeah.
then everything else is actually the worst. Cause okay, so you know what? Let's go to the strong. Okay, the strong structurally is just a massive build up to a great climax, and then it cools down, and then it just restarts because that's the basic MSM formula at its finest, explained in Plant Island. And then Dipsters came in. You know the calm opening to just the calm before the storm to get you ready. What if it was just loud instead? And you know the main verse. What if it was just loud instead? And you know the build. You know, like okay, we have this big climactic ending, but what if we're louder than the big monster in the climax? Isn't that a good idea?
And then
And then
for
after,
some
Of
reason, the
course.
dipsters aren't in the final verse. So, like, you go from the no dipster to the
extra mercy.
dipster.
Yeah,
That's
that's extra mercy. Because it's just
Question about the
a
dipsters,
cooldown verse finally.
actually.
Oh yes, the cooldown verse is left the same with T-Rocks and Sugar. This is great. And then the dish are like, haha, you thought we were gone, didn't you? Guess what? The song back again.
Alright, what was your question, Pommy?
What do they... Why? Why do they exist? They don't need to
because
exist.
The idea
Did the
behind
monsters eat the
dipsters,
dipsters?
like, dipsters, the fundamental idea where it's a monster that plays a single note and you gotta collect them all to complete the scale.
Then make
It's a
it one
great
monster,
idea.
and
It's
it's
just a
much
terrible
better.
Rising Monsters idea.
Yeah. Do you want to know
Yeah.
why it's a terrible idea? And do you know what? Do you want to know what? In the context of MSM, it's a awful idea.
Hmm.
Entire game. Except, what if it was just one set of monsters instead of the entire game? The entire game is just, yo, let's collect the monsters, and you slowly make the song. It's like, hey, what if we did that again, but for a single set of 7 monsters? It's like, yeah, I got the complete Dipster song, and yeah, and then you're like, okay, Tyler listens to the full Planet Island song. Like, yeah, I got the complete Dipster song.
And the
Well, I
best
have a
part is,
thing.
the dipsters replace Plant Island with an inferior version of Plant Island. Because, like, remember, the best part about the Plant Island, besides, like, the last part, because that's the only time where dipsters actually start being like, actual song, the best part about Plant Island, like in the Mammoth versus stuff, is how well it all flows together. Because you got Mammoth into Toe Jammer, then 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 Flog, and it all just kind of flows together really well. But then Dipsters play this really erratic pattern.
That's why I don't like Gast.
Wait,
Because
so
Gast
like,
is so erratic.
Gas with gas is erratic, but it has the background to smooth it out. Dipster's background to smooth it out is the entire song.
You're so right. Alright, that's. I don't want to think about the
Alright,
Dipsters anymore.
I have one more thing to add.
Alright, what?
What?
Dipsters are good for one thing and one thing only.
What?
If you don't give a care, you don't give a darn about getting, like, the ethereals, you can just get a bunch of Dipsters on Ethereal Island and then farm shards there.
Yeah. Also,
That's
one
the only
thing that
reason to
I've
get
never
them.
experimented with Dipsters is muting a couple of them to see how it changes the song.
Well, no,
Wait,
here's
wait,
the thing when
wait,
you
wait,
do
wait.
that, because you're so used to that Dipster being there, so when you mute it, it's like, oh wait, this sounds awful.
And then the
Wait,
last
guys.
thing I have to say about Dipsters is I think it's funny how when you mute them, they're just gone.
I want the
Good riddance.
last. All I'm gonna say is Dipster Earth Island. I don't remember the rest. Okay, next monster.
Okay. Oh, right, Dipster on Earth Island plays a sour note. Whatever.
I don't remember it, which makes it funny.
Hey, guess what? Hey, if we're gonna talk about Dipsters, let's talk about the monster that Dipsters just like we talk about monsters like we're talking about the Dipsters overshadowing monsters. Well, how about the Dipsters straight up stealing the sound of monsters? Let's talk about Gajoo.
Oh, right, they brought
Oh.
him back.
And then they.
Okay, Gajoob when he first came out, and in that version of the song is really top tier. He plays with Octopus, and it's two quiety monsters. They work great together. It perfectly adds into the flow to the build-up. But Plant Island isn't that song anymore. In the
No.
current state of the song, that is not necessary in the slightest. So Gajoob is okay. He's already inaudible, but even if he's audible, he's currently one of the most irrelevant, useless monsters ever. Simply because they completely deleted his role from existence
With the
by changing the song
they
with words.
not only that, but first off, Plant Island is a really long song, and most of the time, people won't even notice when Gajoob's playing because they'll probably just think the song looped again.
Another thing
But
yes.
Gajoob is also kind of with Octopus because Rare Box makes him inaudible, but also Dipsters also make him inaudible.
Okay, it's even worse with Dipsters because Gajoob's like, hey, I just thought of this really cool composition. Like, there's like, yo, that's pretty cool. What if we just like, wow, cool. I like, that's a cool cover of my sound. It's like, what do you mean cover? That's our sound. You're like, what? And he's like, by the way, we play in every verse you play. Like, what?
And more.
Dies like that. Okay, that's why Gajoob was never added because he was like, bro, should I come to the mobile game? And then everyone's like, nah, bro, we know something's coming up and you're not gonna like it. He's like, oh, fine, I'm gonna just stay here.
I am glad we got him in though. He may be
He's-
irrelevant, but it's
One of
he's the
best
superior version of that sound.
He's a great monster. He's probably in like top 5 monsters. But in this current version of the song, he's irrelevant. That doesn't mean he's bad. That just means this version of the song is bad.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, poor Gajoob.
Yo.
However, we still have a monster that didn't get fucking butchered throughout the 5,000 years this game's been out.
This is probably the
Hello,
only monster that didn't get butchered, and that's Sugarbush.
Yeah. Sugarbush.
Well, you
Sugarbush-
can
okay.
definitely tell that an actual like professional singer did him.
Yeah, Sugarbush's sound in general is just okay. It's the very first time where you get a monster that does more than one thing because he's singing and playing, and it's a great introduction to it. And he's a great monster in general. and his sound is really memorable. And it's always fun to just say yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it's never really important. It's not like it's super important in the main part. It's just adding to that entire flow because it's just bum do ba ba do ba bum do bum whoa, whoa. And then yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just adding to the flow. It's just working perfectly. And then his one time to shine, where he really just becomes the best, is in his climatic ending verse, like after the end verse, where he's just closing the song off, and it's just whittling down, and then he just has his final yeah, yeah, yeah in there with his dramatic mandolin, and they added it in. It was great, and it stayed great. And Sugar Bush stayed great. He never declined in quality
Ye-
because nothing could bring him down. Because you can that verse is probably the most unchanging verse. The only thing that's in it is the echo of Talker saying plants. Because for some reason that echoes for 2 minutes long.
Honestly, Sugar Bush, even like the vocal is top tier, but even like the mandolin part, the actual mandolin track itself is also really really good. I'm glad that
Because it's
they added percussive guitar tapping to the actual track.
Because here's the thing: with most monsters, I don't think it's like a hot take to say. Most monsters are made in music programs, but this guy, he was. They didn't approach him. He approached them. He liked this game. He wanted to add to it. He's like, "Hey, I'll go. I'll bring my mandolin up to you guys. I'll just record myself." And he did it, and he just did it naturally because that's what he knows, and that's why he's probably the highest quality sound in the
Yeah.
entire game.
Oh, dude, you know what I just realized?
Hmm.
Because Sugar Bush on Plant Island does percussive guitar tapping, he's actually all three monster types.
Monster
Because he
types.
goes da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, da. He's got the drum in there as well.
Yeah.
And then, you know who else is all three of those?
What?
Troopican.
Nah. Troopican isn't confined by type.
Yeah, he's his own being.
You know who else isn't confined by the rules of the game?
Wellbox.
Oh yeah, I forgot he existed. I was, well, I was gonna talk about weirdos, but that's probably a better thing. So
I
they
feel like
get
Wordo should be last.
yeah, it's good to get the bad taste ready in their mouths.
Wellbox.
Yeah.
Alright, Plant Island is Wellbox's best island, but that's not saying much.
I don't know, man. Have you
Okay,
heard?
Warlock on Play Island is very memorable. He's like, the only, probably the main reason he works is because percussively there isn't too much going on. Like there's a lot of percussion monsters, but they're not really doing that much the entire song. So he's taking the main lead for the percussion and being like, hey, instead of adding to this, like instead of being the backbone to the song, what if I just was the top layer of the song? And that's what he does. And it's at the end of the day, Wabach isn't that great. He isn't that great. However, I don't think he's offensive at all, and he doesn't have a job, but he still
Alright.
does it good.
Here's the thing. Wellbox is the best. Wellbox, in my eyes, is only good on two islands, and that is Plant and Gold, and that's for one reason. Those are the only two islands that Wellbox is on where their approach to designing him wasn't just, lol, let's have a kick drum and a snare drum just be sporadically mashed
And
to
he's
no
a
cadence.
he's slow and methodic on the sound. He's
Because
not
on this island, he's
slow.
got the growling and then the lasers sounds and the air horn. It's subtle. It's more subtle. And then then the next Wellbox you get on Cold Island, it's just.
Okay, yeah. On Clown, he's a really fun sound too. Like that's something we haven't put together. Wabox on Clown is so fun.
Yeah.
Like everywhere else, is just hey, what if I was, what if I was just uh with exclamation point play dubstep music. Instead, he's like, bro, what if I like whenever I think of Wabox, I just think of myself being younger and just walking down Walmart and going on my phone, listening to Wabox, holding it up to my ear, and then just like doing the movements with my body and saying the sounds with my mouth. It's just a fun thing that I think if you're a kid and you played MSM, you would do.
Oh
And
yeah, I
it's
did it all the
really
time.
Yeah, I will admit I did that.
Alright, we only have one more not weirdo monster, and that's Punkleton.
Punkleton is slept on.
Punkleton is cool. I like the idea a lot.
Punkleton is not okay. First of all, Punkleton is probably the best seasonal.
Yeah, there's not much
Gobbledygook.
competition. There's really not a lot of competition for best seasonal.
Yeah.
Gobbledygook.
No.
Listen, here's the thing. Turkmonishmo is cool and all, but I don't think he lives up to Punkleton. Anyways, okay, with Punkleton, he has one job and one job only. Okay, to make because right now, before Punkleton, the intro was really aimless. Because just think about this. Imagine if you're like, oh yeah, the intro of a song. What if it was just fake beatboxing, a support vocal, and the bass? And then Punkleton's like, bro, there's a big hole right there, and I think I know exactly what to fill it. That's right, it's me. And then he went, and then he perfectly did the intro, and it's a perfect intro to the song.
Yeah, there was a Punkleton-shaped hole in the intro, and then Emerson was like, bro, that hole looks pretty dipster-shaped, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like, bro, there's a Punkleton-shaped hole, and then they put him in, and they're like, yo, wait a minute, if you kind of squint, the ridges on Punkleton's face kind of look like holes, and they just crammed them in, and it was like cramming a circle, a square into a circle shape in the kid's toy.
Yeah. It's literally, no, it's like scramming the circle into the square. Technically speaking, it works, but it doesn't, it's not how you're supposed to do it.
It's like here's what happens, okay? They were building a deck of cards, and Pungle was like, that's a little weird. It doesn't got a point. It just ends flat. So I'm gonna put 2 cards up at the top, and everything will be on a point. And then they're like, nah, bro, that's not high enough. We gotta put a monster truck on top. Monster truck's too tall.
Yeah, Punkleton is pretty good. He's not notable, but he's definitely not the worst.
He's notable simply because of the intro. Okay,
Yeah.
he makes the intro because when you get rid of dipsters, the intro is probably the only verse where like you notice them, you're like, oh, that's a little weird. Except not really, because this is better. More like harder to get used to it. But with the intro, it's just objectively 50 billion times better to just have the dipsters not there.
That's true. Alright, we got 2 more, and that's Talker and Parasona. Do we talk about them separately, or do we talk about them together?
We should talk about them together, except for like any notable parts that they have individually.
Yeah.
So the Wordos, they can be arguments to be made. They're the best monster because of doing things that no monster's done before. The same argument can be made for the opposite, for doing things no monster should ever do, and that's completely changing the entire composition of the song.
Yeah, shoutouts to Wordos making the song doubly as long and doubly as boring.
Shoutouts to Weirdos having Dipster Syndrome, where they ruin the fundamental core premise of the game.
Exactly.
It's really hard to defend Weirdos, knowing what the song sound like. Okay, if they did this either way, and then they added Weirdos, then it'd be a little better because it'd be like, bro, why did you change the song? That's awful. But these monsters, they're all right. But instead it's like, hey, this song is perfectly built, except for that. Ignore that. It's perfectly built. And then, so somehow the dipsters managed to balance their monster truck on top of the stack of cards. They didn't, but they did it anyways, and it was not good at all. No one liked it, but they just left it. And then Parasona and Taku were like, yo, bro, is it just you? That looks like a swimming pool. Cannonball!
Okay, but alright. The Weirdos. First off, hot take. Well, not really hot take between us, but hot take in general community. Taku is way better than Parasona.
Yes.
Take it off.
Parasona doesn't got much going for her.
Oh no.
Taku just has a better voice. His timbre is better, and also he's got that last note echo, which is definitely something going for him. If they were isolated, like they didn't affect the game, the Weirdos would be really good sounds. But I can't look past the negative impact they had on the game as a whole.
Yeah. Okay. For the entire Talker being the better one thing, here's the thing we have to consider. Sona is a person who they used to work in the community. All they used to only do is the support portal. They eventually got a chance to voice a monster. Luckily enough, that monster was a revolutionary monster. It was Kana, and they ended up doing a lot more for the game voice wise. So they got the chance to be one of the first two weirdos. And congrats to Sarah for being able to do that and being Sona.
Yeah, that's
What's
another
a
thing.
Sarah?
I don't
Dave
like.
Kerr. Talker is Dave Kerr. That's just how it is. Talker is Dave Kerr.
I
You
don't
can't
like
be
making fun of weirdos because they're the people who made the game. Like, we wouldn't have Memesem
Here's the
without
thing,
Dave Kerr.
and that's why Talker's the better person. Because at the end of the day, you can say it as many times as you want, but Talker is Dave Kerr. You don't beat Dave Kerr. You don't beat Talker. Talker is Dave Kerr. That's all there is to it.
And
You,
I
you
know.
can do better than his wife.
Ooh. I know we
Get to
shouldn't
that.
talk about other islands, but I will say Talker also gets bonus points because he's the only weirdo that fundamentally made an island better than it previously was.
Aaron.
The only-
I don't really consider Island different. It's just kind of different. It's not
an
better
ex-
or worse.
Air Island is an extension. It's
Yeah.
better, but because it's like the better when you listen to a remix. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool. They extended it. I'm gonna go back to playing the game. Yo, it's cool to listen to this, but it's also cool to see them all listening to this. And I don't want to watch a YouTube video because that's not the same. Because I want to go get a ostrich and name it Guanga Bunga.
But yeah, weirdos are just kind of not. I don't want them. I mean, now that they're here, I want to see them all because I'm just tired of them extending it forever.
Yeah. Plant Island weirdos, their sounds are all right, but what they did to the game is completely unforgivable, and they ruined the song, and there's no way of getting around that. They ruined the song, and they made the song like if they weren't in the song, okay. It's better in a way because it isn't as crowded, but also it's still just as crowded, and it's not as good of a song.
Yeah.
Okay, because before then you could just be like, oh, I'm gonna mute the dipsters because they're the worst, and I got my good Plant Island. But now it's like, I'm gonna mute the weirdos, except that's gonna make it even worse because now the song is 2 minutes long and nothing is filling it up.
Yeah. The only way to fix that is to like temporarily mute a monster like Ma right at the beginning of the song, then it'll go back to the original Plant Island style.
Yeah, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, that's all the monsters. There's also the castle base, but the only time the castle base is noticeable is the beginning and end.
Yeah, but again, it did that great.
Honestly, though, castle base at the end of the song when it's Sugar Bush, castle base, and like T-Rex, I think, that's low key kind of awesome.
It really is. It's just
I don't pay attention to it, but I think it's cool.
Yeah, the castle base is really cool on because okay, Sugar Bush and the castle base are probably the only two non-vocals that were recorded professionally in a studio. You can hear like the professionalism in the castle base on Plant Island. It sounds so raw in the best way.
You know, guitars are like the easiest thing to fake, but it's also the easiest thing to tell when it's real. Subtle things like the way the strings wobble, like on Thwack, or the way you can hear the hand gliding up the neck.
Yeah, like.
Yeah. The way they kind of they hold the strings down so that the sound doesn't linger too long. Alright, that's all the monsters. Now here's a very, very important question. Well, actually I got a couple really important questions. First off, because I want to get negativity out of the way first, which ones do you think is worst? Dipsters or weirdos?
Weirdos.
Yes.
You think weirdos are worse?
Because you can mute dipsters and then the song's fine. The weirdos literally, like, if you mute the wordos, the song's still bad.
Yeah. You know what? That's a fair point. Dipsters, when they came out, you could mute them just fine. At least you'd have Old Plant Island, but Weirdos made it so that you couldn't go back.
Question.
What?
What was the question that you asked?
What was
Which
worse,
one's
Dipsters
worse?
or Weirdos?
Dipsters or weirdos?
Oh yeah. Okay. Dipsters are worst sponsors. Wordos are worst update.
Yeah?
Like I said, you can use the dips. Wordos are a trap. Okay, you buy them like they came out and they ruined the song. So this, okay, yeah, they ruined the song, but they ruined the song in a way where you literally need them because if you don't have them, the song is just awful. And the difference, I mean, the Wordos are the only thing that saves the current composition that wouldn't exist without them. So it's like a catch-21.
You know what? That's a good point. Alright, now here's the better question. What do you think is the best monster on Plant Island?
Bogart.
I'd
The
say
current running would be Bogart, Sugarbush, and Gas. But I don't think Gas counts because there is one person in the call that doesn't like him.
okay. I think Bogart. Okay, composition-wise, Bogart is the best one because he does the most for the song. He does his job the best of all those monsters. Sugarbush is the most professionally done one, and it's the only one that's never had his one big shining thing. His one big accomplishment has never been taken away from him. Yeah. And then for Gas, it's probably the most compelling one. Like you listen to Gas, and he's just really compelling.
Yeah. Alright. Now we gotta talk about the song as a whole. We're gonna move through the song, and we're not gonna actually like listen to it, obviously, but we're just gonna note things like in how the opening, obviously, it's like the only verse where you can hear Punkleton, like we said, or the only verse where Punkleton takes charge, and it was a really good verse until they added Dipsters. But also, I kind of find it weird how in the opening there's a chord progression that the bass has, but Potbelly doesn't follow it.
That happens a lot in MSM.
Potbelly's Potbelly.
It's weird.
Yeah.
And then the verse 1 has pretty much everything we said is iconic about MSM is in the first verse.
Yeah, first one is like...
It's the classic build-up.
Yeah.
Well, it was the classic build-up until it just became verse 1 to the Parosona Talker collab pop song. One thing that I think is interesting about Plant Island is how it's now structured like an actual song.
Yeah, but then by that invalidates 90% of monsters.
Yeah.
Because if you turn it into an actual song, it's just, wow, it's a song with really stupid kids lyrics, and also for some reason, in all the background noise is just random people scatting.
Alright. But verse 1 is definitely the better of the verses because it's supposed to be there. Because you get to the first chorus, you got everything here is alive, and honestly, I don't mind the weirdos in this one verse since they're kind of not the lead, because you really get to hear the actual build-up that's supposed to be there.
Yeah. Get to hear things that aren't just like everyone.
Yeah, you get to hear everything here is alive, and then you get to hear you actually get to hear the monsters. You get to hear Ma.
You get to hear the things that are alive.
You get to hear them alive, yeah.
You know what I just realized?
What?
Okay, so when you first get the game, now that the song has changed, you get Noggin, Mammoth, Toe Jammer, you get those guys, and then you get Ma, but then the song's no longer Noggin and Mammoth, and then Ma plays, and then it's Noggin solo. It's Noggin Mammoth plays, and then Ma, and then Noggin Mammoth, and then Ma, and then Noggin plays, and then Ma again.
Well, actually, see, they understood that, so they found a way around it. Cause like certain essential monsters, if they're not playing, then it will. If you okay, obviously, if you don't have the Weirdos and you don't have the Dipsters, and there's a couple of monsters, if you mute all those monsters, it'll play the original composition. But it's not going to be as good because you're going to have some pretty good monsters muted.
Yeah.
Again, it's another Cat 21. Would
Okay.
you rather have the original composition with less monsters, or the new composition with everything happening at once?
I'd rather not have a composition at all.
Just a song, just.
Well,
It's
I'd
just
rather
silence.
Ryan, we're not supposed to talk about Cold Island yet. Anyway, verse 2 is automatically worse because A, it ruins the flow of the song, and B, it's not supposed to be there.
Wait, verse 2
Okay.
as in everything
It's
here is
not in the
alive.
original one.
No, that's
Okay.
after.
It-
Back when it goes back to the Mammoth verse.
Oh yeah, well, fuck that.
I don't know why it's there. They don't even add anything new.
Oh, because Talker plays.
Oh, right, that's when Talker plays, and that's actually like...
That's when the better Weirdo plays. You gotta say that verse 2 is better than verse 1.
Yeah, okay. Let's pretend that verse 1 and chorus 1 are the ones that they added to the game so that we can say that verse 2 and chorus 2 are better. Anyway, chorus 2 actually isn't better because for some reason it's double the length.
Yeah, they had to double the length because they had to lead it into a note becomes a chord.
Well, I don't see why they had to. Because instead of everything here is alive twice and then you go to the bridge, for some reason they're like, bro, what if we everything here is alive 4 times? And they're all the same. What is this? One of my old songs?
Old songs? I think you mean current songs.
Shh.
Okay.
No, and then you get into a note becomes a chord.
Alright.
Remember the classic octopus build-up verse? Now it's just the bridge instead.
Yeah, the bridge where they got rare Wubbox. Woo!
Yeah.
My favorite monster, rare Wubbox, finally
And
gets to
Favorite
play.
flavor.
And then we get into the like chorus, but with different.
Yeah, we get to the chorus, the final chorus, and it's honestly probably the best chorus because that's when you finally get Ant Brat and some new lyrics. That's not just everything here is alive.
Yeah, and then it's just a bunch of plants.
It's just a bunch of plants.
Okay, with the entire lyrics. Okay, so with the you plant as it settles in, and then it bursts, and then it switches and becomes a twin. Then there are more local Okay, it's like it all makes sense, but I feel like it just going random saying it's just a bunch of plants is really nonsensical and
Yeah, I remember it really
it's
bothered
not
me that it didn't rhyme.
about rhyming that much. Like, yeah, it'd be better if it rhymed, but also it just they just say it for no reason. Like, wow, it's a bunch of plants on Plant Island. Isn't that
What?
crazy and wild?
Bro,
Whoa,
Plants.
I can't believe it.
that's
Plant.
insane.
Okay, also,
Plant.
I knew you guys were talking about the Talker's Echo being good, but I'm gonna be honest. I think it's really weird because it's literally it sounds like it doesn't sound like a natural echo. It's like it's just a bunch of plants, 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 plants.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just a bunch of plants, plants, plants.
Plants, plants, plants.
It's like with the make echo, echo, echo.
Pants.
And then lastly, there's the cooldown, but we already
Yeah,
that's literally the
yeah,
best verse in the song
yeah.
right now because it's
Yeah.
unedited.
It really is. Unless you meet the dipsters, then the intro's the best verse.
Yeah.
Sad.
So yeah, that's Plant Island. There's also the Furcorn Jelly Dream Plant Island, which is low-key home to the best sound in MSM. Furcorn Jelly Dream Octopus.
The only game where it gets its best justice, and it gets it well.
Octopus always is like, bro, I love my job. I'm gonna put my heart and soul into this. And then some other guy's like, bro, I'm flashier. I'm gonna overshadow you. Octopus was like, bro, there's literally nothing in this game that can overshadow me. I'm putting my entire life savings into this. And
nah, you know what happened to Octopus?
What?
He got overshadowed on every island, and then he's like, fine, I'm gonna get depressed. And then Psychic Island happened, he was like, shoot.
Yeah, so here's what happened. He's like, it's like, bro, I want to play here, and then, okay, it's like, bro, I want to play here. Parl, Sona, and Roblox, bro, that's a cool idea. Maybe I should do that too. He's like, oh, okay. Then Cooldown, I want to play here. Just kid, it's like, okay, you can do that. Except, you know, I'm feeling different. I want to be different this time. And then it's awful. It's not as good as any other Octopus. And then also, for some reason, everyone else is also playing there. And then on Air Island, he doesn't exist because Octopus doesn't go on Air Island. And then on Water Island, he's like, bro, I'm gonna be the intro. And it's like, bro, that's a whack decision, but you know, it actually works. And then Earth Island, he's not there. And then Ethereal Island, he's not there because Octopus is not in
Nah, hold
the
up. Go
We're
back
not
to Water
supposed to
Island.
talk about them yet.
Hold up, go back to Water Island. You said,
Yeah.
oh, it kind of works. But then you realize it did kind of work, and then the game was like, hold up. I'm kind of feeling Blabbit. I'm kind of feeling Geode. I'm kind of feeling Dipsters playing here as well.
Geode playing the intro.
Geode
What?
is not playing the intro.
What?
Intro is okay. The intro is the castle base shall be Octopus and Blabbit.
Anyway, we're getting off topic. Octopus on Furcorn Jelly Dream is
overshadowed everywhere on every island. He's like, oh, bro, if I'm gonna be overshadowed on every island, I'm just gonna be not overshadowed by not being on an island. And then he goes to plant. He just goes to Furcorn Jelly Dream.
Yeah.
Octopus was like overshadowed on everything, and then when he finally got his light, he was like, finally, some justice for the octopus.
Justice for the Octopus.
But yeah, okay. Bottom line, Octopus and Furcorn Jelly Dream, low key the best MSM sound.
Low key.
Well, yeah, because like it's Furcorn Jelly Dream.
Scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Plant Island?
Depends on what version we're asking.
It's hard to say. It's
Current.
one of the most important islands in the game when you think about
Current
it.
version.
But
Current version is a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, 4.5 out of 10.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
current Plant Island is probably the weakest it's ever been.
I think
Plant Island, I'd put it at a 3. Old Plant Island, and by old I mean before Dipsters and before Roblox. Literally, it was just Gajube was added in the PlayStation Vita version. That's what I'm gonna consider the old version. If we consider that version, then I'd say it's a solid 7.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna give Plant Island like a 4 out of 10 as well. It's definitely in order to fix Plant Island, they'd have to majorly rework it.
just take away the
Not worth
entire
it.
island.
At this point, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna listen to the official soundtracks because they're better, or YouTube videos of like I'm just gonna go into put together the full song and then add Gajube and using a sound. And I'm just gonna listen to that.
Yeah, guys, listen to the official soundtrack version of Plant Island. It's just Plant Island without Dipsters and Weirdos, so it's better.
And Gajube, but
Honestly,
That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Not even a sacrifice.
I would rate Plant Island a 5 out of 10 because it may be bad.
It may be bad. That's just it.
Bro, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I think Plant Island is solid 9 out of 10.
It's a 9 out of 10 because Reroll Box really sells it for me.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, Plant Island's a 9 out of 10 because Dipsters